Mechanical gears turn. Steamed pressure hisses. Droids scramble to configure a giant machine. One gets tossed to the side with the power of the Force and smashes against the wall. At first, it is unclear where we are until finally it is revealed. The pulsing ring of energy envelops the eye of the Force. It glows as Snoke and his acolytes work the controls. We are aboard the terrifying Starforge. A man dressed in black robes is placed at the foot of the mechanical cylinder. He kneels, robes and posture conceal his identity. Will it work this time? It must. The pair look over at a heap of robed bodies piled up to one side. This is not their first attempt at this nightmarish experiment. Snoke places his hand over a lever and whispers, "One with the Force." Suddenly, Snoke cranks the lever. A gigantic pulse of energy floods the room, then silence. Did it work? Then, a concussive shockwave of focused energy beams through the eye to the kneeling form below. The acolytes chant as energy pours into the figure. A ghostly visage passes through the eye. Snoke stands over the body. He uses the Force to keep any arcs of energy from bouncing outside of their intended target. Then silence. Steam rolls off of the robed figure. His visage is still concealed, but his hands spark with the power of Force lightning as he rises to get his bearings. "My liege." Lord Snoke kneels. The robed figure outstretches his hand to pull a cane from the corner. It snaps to the grip of his hand. In that moment, the hand deteriorates. The more he exerts his power, the weaker he becomes. This vessel is insufficient, but will do for now. Even though weaker and diminished, his presence is no less terrifying. He speaks his first words. "Another imperfect form. We will fix it, my lord. And why would I trust you, my first vessel? An abomination to find a more superior form? I live to serve you, my lord, because you were programmed that way. Alert the soldiers. We have work to do." He pauses and then looks around. Where is the girl? His face finally revealed. The Emperor has returned. Light years away, back on Yavin 4, dozens of images flash. Memories, dreams, arguments. A year of Rey's life at the temple. Echoes of Luke and Ben arguing about what to do with Rey. Luke tells Ben we must be patient. Months later, Rey tries to escape. She is captured. They train her under supervision, but an ever-present rage remains in another escape attempt. She takes a swing at Luke. He stops her. Put her in prison and forget about her. Hate does not conquer hate, Ben. Only compassion can do that. Many months later, Rey still argues. Just because you refuse to kill me doesn't mean I'll turn. I will never betray the Empire. Luke looks at her, at peace with her words. Rey and Finn train together. Finn is beaten quickly. Poe looks on from the side. Flashes of the Emperor. His words reverberate again, bringing us back to today. Where is the girl? Rey startles awake from the nightmare. In an unconscious frenzy, she puts a massive crack in the wall of her room using the Force. The shouts and cries of her past echo in her mind. The Emperor's voice is still there. As she comes back to reality, she is distraught but still incredibly dangerous, angry but controlled. R2-D2 stares at her from the door with breakfast. She Force pushes him away. Go away. He shocks her out of bed. Ow! Come on, time to go. He beeps. Rey is led through the temple, unshackled, but followed by Jedi guards. The other Jedi go out of their way to avoid her. They have been urged to welcome her, but she hasn't made it easy. Finally, we arrive at Luke meditating on the balcony overlooking the ocean. Thank you, R2. He beeps. Something's happened, hasn't it? Rey stands silent. I felt a darkness I have not felt since before you were born. Is that what you've been waiting for? She folds her arms, still defiant. Luke accepts her silence. Come, walk with me. The pair walk across the temple grounds. The gardens are lush and beautiful, full of life. How long have you been here, Rey? You mean how long have I been your prisoner? If that is your point of view. Luke spends his time with Rey talking to himself. Rey offers little information in return. Luke hopes to one day turn Rey to the light, but up until this moment, there has been marginal progress at best. Rey usually finds Luke's altruism tiresome, but her patience wears thin this time. She snaps. Why do you let me live, old man? Luke smirks. Why do you want to live? Rey is puzzled. Nobody has ever asked her that question before. She comes up with the first thing that comes to her mind. to serve the Remnant and re-establish our dominance in the galaxy. And why do you want to do that? So that we can spread order and unity throughout the galaxy. That's Hux talking. Why do you serve the Remnant? Because because you've known nothing else. If I had to guess, I would bet that no one has ever asked you what you want in your entire life. Rey internalizes this. What do you want then? To try and save me? To bring me to your side? Luke smirks, thinking back to his time with an old friend. He chuckles. I stopped trying to do anything a long time ago. I do, or I do not. Because I either am, or I am not. So, no, Rey. I will not try to change you. He takes a sip of his tea and walks away. What the hell does that mean? Rey, you are not here to become a Jedi, or to inform us of the Remnant's plans. You are here to find out who you are and what you want. Until then, we will provide you a space and safety to discover that journey unencumbered by the Remnant, the Republic, Snoke, or anybody else. All we can do is show you the path. It's up to you which one you will want to walk down. Now come, let's train. I know how to use a lightsaber. That is not today's lesson. Combat is not what you lack. I want to see how you make things grow. Luke places seeds in her hand. She looks at them curiously. Come join me in the garden. Sir. Sir. From the tree line, a Jedi shouts. The Remnant is advancing to Kantobite. Luke and Rey run back to the temple base. They communicate with the Republic. The intel was right. They are going to attack Kantobite, while portions of the Senate are staying there. How did they know they were there? They must have sympathizers. Leia, you have to get out of there. On Kantobite, Ben, Poe, and Finn prepare for battle. They walk up to greet Leia and the other senators, including Lando Calrissian. Leia recruited him to represent his system after their senator perished in the bombing. Ben and Lando embrace and trade pleasantries. They are familiar but not close. Their paths started to drift when Ben started down the Jedi path. But Lando has always been around for the big stuff. Senator, it's time to go. C-3PO is thrilled to be getting off the planet. Ben, Poe, and Finn are going to stay behind and help the soldiers defending the city. Leia is reluctant but follows her son's instructions and bids her farewell. Be careful, Ben. The two embrace. Ben backs away from the platform. Locals who are part of the working class rattle against the fences. Some get through, a few cling to the spacecraft trying to find their own escape. There is not enough transport to evacuate the whole city. The poorer citizens know what's coming and they are terrified. The sight affects Ben. This is wrong. He sees one person holding onto the landing gear as the ship departs. He falls. Ben stops him from hitting the ground, giving him a gentle landing. Despite his best efforts to be an exemplary Jedi, it's widely public opinion that Ben's actions on Eriadu are what kicked off the war, and that all subsequent conflicts are at least in part his fault. It has made it difficult for him to bond with the soldiers and citizens at large, and has in a way somewhat alienated him from the Republic he had sworn to defend. But he doesn't have time to focus on that now. War is upon them. Imperial ships jump out of light speed and fill the sky. Man your battle stations! Poe fights from the air. Ben and Finn man their stations on the ground. Jedi and soldiers barricade themselves on one side of the city wall. They look out to the watery shallows of the bay. Imperial fighters, walkers approach. The sight and scale of the Imperial force is impressive. Kantobite is not a fortress. It's a city built for decadence and luxury. One of the Republic generals addresses the army. If the walkers get to the city gates, the city will flood with infantry and be lost. Focus all of your efforts on the walkers. No problem, General. Wait! Ben jumps over the wall and leaps into action. He rides his speeder down the wall and onto the open battlefield. First, he uses a tracking cable to tie up the legs of one walker. It falls and collapses onto another. He then uses the rubble as a ramp to jump onto the third. He cuts through the legs of the other and then drops a thermal detonator in the fourth before leaping back onto the speeder. The Republic soldiers cheer as Ben single-handedly disarms the lion's share of the invasion. That's my master. Finn jests to the soldiers. Ben dispatches some ground troops with ease. But then it becomes quiet. The mood shifts. Ben turns. Off in the distance, another round of walkers lumber towards the city, as well as a sizable speeder cavalry led by the Knights of Ren. Poe gets ready. Ben look up. Shade forms from above. Where there was clear skies just moments ago, a dark swarm forms. An innumerable number of TIE fighters descend on the battleground. It's an ambush. Ben, look out! Poe and the other pilots fly through the swarm to try to do some damage and give Ben cover. Ben runs back toward the city, panic in his eyes. He force pulls a large sheet of metal to protect him from blaster fire. A shower of green blaster beams descend on the battlefield. From the TIE fighters' airstrike teams, hundreds of jet-packed airborne Imperial soldiers descend over the walled city, one of them in all silver. It's Phasma. They rain hellfire down from above. The Republic soldiers panic as they land. Phasma sees Finn, deserter, tyrant. They have a shootout. Finn grabs his lightsaber in one hand, pistol in the other. He is able to deflect a few shots and get a few more shots off. Phasma lets bolts ping off of her Beskar armor. Silly boy, how do you think a female slave works her way out of the mine? I will give you a hint. It's not by being easy to kill. They break into hand-to-hand combat. Her armor deflects the lightsaber. She beats him senseless as she taunts him. He tries to use the Force to stifle her advances, but it is no use. He can't focus. Ben screams, "Finn!" as he tries to make it back to the wall. Soldiers form around Phasma. Several of the jetpack soldiers jump off of the walled gate and onto the side, planting charges. This is Ben's last chance to turn the tide. He leaps into action and cuts down dozens of the enemies. He engages with the Knights of Ren as they advance. Their skill impresses him, but they are not master Force wielders. Ben leaves them behind to get to Finn. Got Big Brother fighting your battles now, little Jedi? Too bad. She gives the command. Blow it. No. The charges detonate. The wall explodes with precise destruction. The path into the city is now clear. Ben looks up from the blast, blurry-eyed, ears ringing. He sees chaos and destruction all around him. The city is lost. They are totally overwhelmed. Ben gives the order. Fall back. What? Fall back. Get to safety now. He finds Finn and the two hobble their way back to the hangars and speeders. Ben notices one of the Knights of Ren that is passed out from the explosion. He throws him over his shoulder and they run. Oddly, the soldiers are not following them. Instead, they are moving their way into the city, collecting knickknacks and trinkets and loading up crates with them. The battle subsides. Ben, Finn, and the captured Knight of Ren get ready to depart in their star speeder along with Poe and the others. It is an utter defeat. At the temple, the Jedi are getting the latest reports as they come in. Rey sees the destruction caused, and for the first time, she sees the war through her enemy's eyes. The distraught look on the Jedi's faces affects her in a profound way. She had walked amongst these people for over a year, and not once did any of them ever show any aggression towards her. Not once. They live in harmony with one another. She knows something is coming, and there is little they will be able to do about it. Swept up in the emotion, she makes a decision to tell Luke what is really going on. "Skywalker, there is something I should tell you." He turns to her a bit defeated. "A little too late," is written on his face. She stutters but gets up the courage to speak. The Remnant isn't planning She is interrupted. A giant image appears on screen, and in the skies of Kantobite. Ben and Finn look up. A veiled figure emerges. It's Palpatine. "Citizens of the galaxy, hello." Ben stumbles, shocked. This broadcast is being sent throughout the galaxy. Luke is totally lost for words. Leia is shocked. The entire galaxy gives a collective gasp at the Emperor standing before them. How is this possible? I know, I can hardly believe it either. The Force has spoken, and it has said my work here is not yet complete, and so I join you all now, flesh and bone, back from the great void to greet you all. A lot has changed in our galaxy since I have been gone. Many of you have prospered and thrived under the Republic. However, many of you have not. It becomes quiet. Greed has seeped into the Republic. I have seen the wealthiest amongst you swell your fortunes while the weak and helpless remain hungry. And for that reason, I believe the Force has brought me back, to be an example for you all, to restore balance and equity for all who occupy this galaxy. Crates begin to descend on multiple worlds. As I speak to you all now, crates, ships, technology, and resources of ours are being delivered to the poorest amongst you, to give you the power to rise up and take what's yours. to take back these systems that have taken so much from you and return it to you, the people. We invite any system that has felt underserved by the Republic to join our cause, and for those that are skeptical, I understand. But the Force speaks to all of us, and who better to offer you freedom than one who has seen the error in the ways of his past? We are a remnant no more. We do not seek to conquer, but to liberate. If you have felt small, if you have felt unseen, I assure you, I see you. We are the beginning of something new. We are the First Order in a new age. Long live the First Order, and may the Force be with all of you. Crates are open to show untold riches and technology. Ben sees the working-class citizens of Kantobite celebrating and eating the spoils delivered to them from the pockets of the elite. Children play with the gold coins. What is going on? Ben and Finn fly back to the temple. Do you think she knew? She knew. What are you going to do? Ben doesn't give an answer. Perhaps because he doesn't even know himself. This is something so heinous he doesn't know what to do. They arrive back at the temple. Ben marches through the halls with vengeful determination. He powers up his lightsaber and immediately goes to strike Rey. Rey pulls a lightsaber off of another Jedi to defend herself. Their blades connect. You knew. Ben, stop. What is the meaning of this? She brought him back Master. We've been harboring her for over a year, and all the while she knew that this was the plan. Remorseful, it's what I was trained to do. They cross blades several times until they lock again. How is this possible? When you're gone, you're gone. There is no coming back. No one has ever come back. Why him? Why now? She speaks through her teeth. To tip the galaxy back in his favor. Master, you said Grandfather brought balance to the Force, that it was prophesied that the Sith couldn't return. Luke doesn't know what to say. He is as baffled as everyone else. Rey and Ben trade blows. Rey spits out blood. Do you really think the Emperor cares about the feeble prophecies of crazed ancient Jedi mystics? Ben is beside himself with rage. Luke tries to talk him down. Ben takes a moment to collect his thoughts, until he asks the fateful question. Can he bring others back? Rey stares at him. Knowing how she answers this question will determine the fate of everyone in the room. Her eyes betray her. Ben knows. He can, before he is able to get in a word. Luke steps in. Han is gone, Ben. I miss him. I miss him more than you can know, but he is gone. Rey explains that the Star Forge combines star matter with dark side Force energy. With it, they can create anything they need. When enough energy is focused through the eye of the Force, it can create a bridge from the netherworld. Ben can't believe it. He asks what her part in all of this is. She says she's Palpatine's granddaughter. This sends Ben into a blinding rage. The two go head to head. Desperate to see that the two don't hurt each other, Luke jumps into the conflict. He is intervening but holding back in an effort to not hurt them. Ben actually starts to gain the upper hand on Luke and kicks him to the ground. Reflexively, he almost strikes him. But at the very last moment, Rey intervenes. Luke sees Rey. She is surprised by her actions, but undeterred. Now Luke and Rey team up against Ben. He rips columns out of their foundations, causing the temple walls to buckle. He hurdles them at Rey. They lock blades. Luke tries to stop it. I'm going to find Snoke. I'm going to find the Emperor, and I'm going to kill them both. And then I'm going to get my father back, you bitch. Enough! Luke uses a force push that launches Ben through a wall. Luke runs to Rey's side. Are you okay? Yeah, fine, she jokes, face obviously bloodied. Ben grabs the shackled Knight of Ren and drags him back to his ship. Take me to Snoke. Only our leader, the Kylo Ren, can go before Snoke. Show me. Ben and his hostage leave Yavin. Back on the ground. Rey, Finn, and Poe, along with Luke and the others, work on clearing the rubble of the temple. Rey looks at the destruction, the injured, reflecting on the fallout from the duel. Finn and Poe discuss Rey. What do you think about Rey? I think she killed one of the best men I've ever known in cold blood. And judging by that fight, it looks like she's ready to explode any second. That's what I think of her. But she's getting better, don't you think? She just saved Master Skywalker. He had it under control. She can't change her stripes, kid. She's a killer. That's who she is. So was I. Poe doesn't have a retort. Finn reaches out to talk to her. What do you want? To talk. The two talk as they help clear the rubble. Finn is self-deprecating about how his force abilities are so juvenile compared to hers. She laughs, a spark of levity on an otherwise somber day. She tells him he wouldn't want to come to know the Force the way she did. The two share a bond. They're both wounded by the Remnant in their own way. Finn is probably one of the only people in the temple that at least has an idea of what her life was like. He's grown to care about her in a way that he is not fully ready to admit. Drawn to her. Luke sees this exchange and makes note of it. Rey sees Poe working by himself, clearing out the debris. He is struggling to move a boulder, taking his frustrations out on it. She knows what Han meant to him. She has come to regret what she did, but she could never quite bring herself to talk to Poe about it. She tells Finn she will be right back and approaches Poe. She moves the boulder with one motion of the Force. Poe nods to thank her, says nothing. Rey tries to speak but can't find the words. I'm sorry. You were defending Master Skywalker. You have nothing to be sorry about. Not about that. Poe takes off his gloves and stares at the ground. I know. The pair talk it out for a bit. Poe is noticeably uncomfortable having a civil conversation with the person who murdered his mentor and friend. Rey, I know you're trying here. Luke seems to believe in you, and I am trying, but... Rey nods, looking for something, anything. But you still took my friend. Rey steps back. She understands. Poe walks away to get some air. Luke clocks this interaction as well. Rey walks off and paces in silence, thinking about the violent events of the day. She is conflicted, charged. Luke approaches her. She startles. May I intrude? Rey doesn't seem to object. That was quite something back there. Rey nods but doesn't make a sound. She cannot contain her conflict anymore. I was going to kill him. I believe you. But you also saved me. That was an accident. It didn't look like an accident. I was reacting. I wasn't thinking. Luke reflects on this a moment. A reaction is just your nature revealing itself before your mind has time to get in the way. Rey wrestles with her thoughts until she is able to speak it. The Jedi have been kind to me without any reason. You defended me against your own flesh and blood without hesitation when my master left me defenseless. Their way is strength and control. Yours is peace and flowing with the tides of nature, to surrender, to let go. I don't know if I can do that. Luke looks at her sincerely, letting her arrive at her own conclusions. The Emperor only seeks to control and dominate despite what he said. I've gone my whole life unable to choose my path. I don't know if I can walk your path, Master Skywalker, but I know I can no longer walk his. I will help you. Then let us get to work. Cut back to Ben. He is taken to a world where the Knights of Ren rest. Ben shouts from outside the fortress gates. Hey, I got your boy here! Ben holds his blade to his neck. The doors open. Ben and the captive knight walk through the gates. What brings you here, Jedi? I want you to take me to the Emperor. Ha! Not even we know where the Emperor is. Snoke, then. That we can do. But why should we help you? Because we seek the same goal, strength. Very well then, Jedi. Let us see how strong you are. Defeat me and we will take you to Snoke. Ben activates his lightsaber. It starts to bleed red as his connection to the Force changes. He notices but doesn't let it deter him. He is doing this for the right reasons. Without your tricky blade, young one. The two square off and break into hand-to-hand combat. The fight is violent, harsh. They go toe-to-toe, trading blows. The Kylo uses a concussive blow of the Force. It knocks Ben back to the wall. You know the ways of the Force? We call it the shadow. Well, in that case, Ben Force pulls himself back up to his feet, almost as if a levitation. The Ren look at one another impressed. What follows resembles something closer to a flogging than a fair fight. Ben unleashes his power for the first time, unrestricted. Ben moves faster than what is humanly possible. Using the Force, he maneuvers his body in ways that don't seem natural. Each punch he unloads carries with it the additional blast of a concussive Force energy. He unloads on the body, then the head, the body again, and the head. He dodges every advance the Kylo tries to make on him. Finally, he smashes his face with a final blow. The Kylo's mask falls off and splashes in the mud. Yield! Another knight yells from his perch as the Kylo gasps for air. He cannot yield. I've beaten him. I've won now. Tell me where Snoke is. It is to the death, Jedi. He is beaten. I am not killing a man in cold blood. Really? Because he will. The Kylo stands and runs at Ben. Ben flips into a chokehold and pleads one last time. I don't want to kill you! The Kylo grunts, yells, still resisting. The knights shout, do it! Ben snaps the Kylo's neck. He gets up from his knees, a different man. There is a change in his eyes. This is not the heroic Ben we knew. This is someone else. Something else. I didn't want to do it. You did what you had to. This is how it is done. You are the strongest now. You are the Kylo. Take your prize. Exhausted, Ben walks over to the mask that fell off of the leader and picks it up. Why the mask? To honor the one who came to our world and conquered us. To honor the strongest. To honor the Dark One. Vader? You knew him? Ben lies. Only the stories. You honor his legacy by wearing the mask. Gives you focus. Rely on the shadow instead of your eyes will make you strong. Ben places the helmet over his head. The transformation is complete. Ben basks in his new mantle. The mask blinds his vision so that he must totally rely on the Force to see. He is now ready. Take me to Snoke. Back on Yavin, Luke, Poe, Rey, and the rest of the Jedi meet around the table to make their plan. They all look to Rey. She doesn't have the answers they seek. The plan was always to bring the Emperor back. The assumption was he would set his plan in motion once he was made whole. Is he? Clearly not. My guess is they improvised and used one of his clones until they can create a more suitable host. A more suitable host? Rey turns to Luke. That's what Snoke was supposed to be. The perfect vessel. A genetically engineered being that possesses all of the best traits from a collection of various species. And there is too much splicing. They could never make the bond work correctly. Once he was back, they wanted to wipe the slate clean of all the old systems of government. Make way for something new, winning over the hearts and minds of a new generation, uniting the young, the poor, and the underserved for a new age. To give them everything they've ever been denied by the Republic. With the Star Forge, he can make the poorest worlds rich with resources overnight. Do you know where it is? How to destroy it? There isn't one. They made sure of that this time. If it can be built, it can be destroyed. Their army would be so massive now, I don't even know how the fleet would get past their blockade. There is a base on Antarok, where the forge was designed. If there is a weakness to be found, you would be able to find it there. Then we need to go. There is one more thing. Snoke has been bribing some of the emergency senators for information. The team falls silent for a moment. I need to speak with Leia. Finn chimes in. But Master, what about Antarok? I need to tell Leia about the Senate corruption and Ben. Then, Antarok. I guess that means we're going to Coruscant. The group breaks off to prepare for the voyage. Finn offers to help Rey, but Luke waves him over first. Finn, can I see you for a moment? Finn and Luke look over the balcony. They both see Rey training in the courtyard below. This is a lonely life, Luke remarks. Finn plays dumb at first, but then decides to come clean. Have you ever been drawn to someone, Master? Luke nods. A long time ago. Luke gets a far-off look in his eye. He remarks about a long-lost love. She tried to kill me once. Needless to say, that fight didn't go the way either of us had planned. She had red hair. She was bright, cunning, but soft, gentle when she needed to be. What happened? I lost her, and I realized then, I could have her or I could have the Jedi, but I couldn't have both. Finn says nothing, knowing what he means. This life isn't for everyone, Finn, but if you choose it, you can't go halfway. But you said your attachments made you stronger. General Solo, your sister, they do, but they also make you vulnerable, and the Jedi can't always be there to guide you. All I am saying is tread carefully, Finn. Trust the Force, focus, and let go. The tighter you hang on, the looser your grip becomes. Back with Kylo and the Knights of Ren, they approach the Snoke's ship. Snoke says let him through. The trooper security protests, but he says he wants him here. Kylo and the Knights of Ren come busting out expecting a fight. All of the stormtroopers are in formation and point the way to Snoke's throne room. Kylo and the Knights make their way there. Ben Solo, or should I say Kylo Ren now, It doesn't matter. Soon you'll be dead. We'll see. Kylo tries to make a move on Snoke, but he anticipates this and quickly brings him to his knees. Snoke goes on to make Ben an offer. He says that the Emperor is taking the First Order in a bold new direction, and it starts with rooting out the greed and corruption amongst his own constituents. He instructs Ben to gather all of the Remnant leadership, including Hux and the corrupt senators that have been their informants in the Republic. Do this, and I will bring you to the Emperor. The conflict swells in Ben. He just wants his father back. He expected to find conflict with the First Order, but he finds himself sympathetic to their notions of reform. He knows it's all for propaganda, but the opportunity to destroy the Remnant from within almost seems too good to be true. He could weaken the enemy, expose traitors in the Republic, gain the Emperor's trust, and get his father back all in one motion. He agrees. Via Snoke, Ben sends out an invitation for the Remnant leaders to gather on Antarok, and if you get the opportunity, take your revenge on our sister Rey. Meanwhile, on their way to Coruscant, Poe speaks to Rey in one of the engine rooms. So you're helping us now, eh? For lack of a better idea, yeah, she jokes. He searches for a witty comeback, but opts for sincerity instead. Rey, I wanted to apologize for before. I know what you're doing isn't easy and you're a long ways away from who you used to be. It's just hard, you know? I know. For what it's worth, you remind me of another scoundrel who walked away from their past. The pair share a moment where their eyes meet. They are interrupted by Chewie growling that they are almost there. Yeah, buddy, I'll be right there. Poe walks away, and Rey is left there alone. A nervousness stirs inside of her for the first time, but she needs to put that aside as they prepare for landing. They land the ship on Coruscant to meet with Leia. The mood is grim. She looks at him puzzled, searching his eyes for answers. What's she doing here? She's here to help Leia, like she helped Han? Rey walks over to the balcony and stays quiet. Leia, please, we need to talk. Luke tells her what happened to Ben. She breaks down, unable to fathom what her son is trying to do, asking if he can stop him. Luke doesn't know. That's why they have come. Rey said that some of the emergency senators have been taking bribes from the Remnant for information. They need to question them to see if they can get any useful information. Leia begins to panic. What's wrong? After the attack on the Senate, I suspected that the Republic had been compromised. I called Lando. Leia, you didn't. I needed somebody I could trust. Luke's blood runs cold. He assured me he could gain the Remnant's trust, and we could discover who was feeding them information. The two begin to argue. Lando doesn't do that anymore, Leia. But he is loyal, and your strategy with the girl wasn't working. Not fast enough anyways, I could trust him. She explains how skilled Lando is at playing all of the angles, a talent she knew she could use. It was a dangerous gambit, but they knew the risks. Leia, where is he? He said that High Command wanted to bring everyone together, that it was an emergency. Rey chimes in. They're bringing them to the Emperor. Why would they do that? Rey can't speak it. She doesn't know, but she fears the worst. We have to go. R2-D2 pulls up the data logs to get them to the base on Antarok. As they get ready to depart, Rey turns to face Leia. I know there is nothing I could say that would warrant your forgiveness, but from the bottom of my heart I am sorry for what I took from you. Leia hears the apology but can't find forgiveness yet. Rey boards the ship remorseful. Through the Force, Leia whispers under her breath, "Good luck." Rey hears it and disappears into the ship. Luke looks back at Leia. Bring him home, Luke. He nods and departs. Together they go to Antarok to collect the senators and, more importantly, stop Ben before it's too late. The mood is bleak, the calm before the storm. Poe walks off to work on something. Rey follows. Poe is having a crisis. Ben is like a kid brother to him. Han trusted him to look out for him. He doesn't know what to do, and once over, he is powerless to stop him. Rey holds him. I just don't know what to do anymore, Rey. Rey leans in slowly and kisses him. It is brief, but sincere, like a whisper. We will get him back. Poe grabs her and kisses her passionately. Finn sees all of this from the hall. He shrugs, defeated, and walks away. The group prepares for the battle ahead. As they approach the base, Finn laments to Luke that he feels useless. He wasn't a great soldier. He's not a particularly gifted Jedi. How do I know my place in all of this? Luke assures Finn that his time will come. Most importantly, he has a good heart, and that he is a good man. If he sticks with that, his place will reveal itself. Luke advises him to stay on the ship and man the cannons. Luke and Rey descend to the planet floor. It is icy and cold. They are able to sneak their way through the vast majority of the facility. Luke tells Rey to be careful. Snoke will do everything in his power to pull you back. You must be mindful. Rey exclaims that won't happen. How can you be so sure? He asks. Because I know what I want now. You, the Jedi, Poe, Finn, you all gave me the one thing Snoke never could. A family. With those words, Luke's mission to redeem Rey is complete. His cause is now her cause. She is a Jedi. They make their way to the data center and upload the Starforge plans to the Millennium Falcon. That was too easy. I have a bad feeling about this. They get a ping that leads them to where they believe Ben is holding the Remnant leadership, Senators and Lando. Right outside the door, they prepare for the worst. On the count of 3, 2, 1, bang! They kick the door down, ready to face whatever may come. But to their surprise, there's nothing. No one is there. In fact, the whole facility is empty. The two march to a much larger room and then they see them in the doorway. Snoke and Kylo are waiting. Rey and Luke are baffled. Where is Lando, Ben? Where are the Senators? They never made it here. We had someone else pick them up while we bring you home, Rey. The pair look up at the screen. It shows the Emperor addressing the masses. Hux, the leaders of the Remnant, and Senators including Lando, are all shackled. The Emperor proclaims a sweeping declaration that the time for reform is now. That the old ways must die. That greed, the secrets, the hoarding, the violence, the slavery, it all ends today. Under our watch, prosperity belongs to all. These men have taken everything from those under their charge. They have profited, while their worlds starved. So how shall they be judged for their crimes? While I would be more than happy to render judgment, I surely cannot. Perhaps those who suffered by your hand should be your judge and jury. Ben, stop this. Behind him, the gates open to former slaves of the Remnant. Citizens, you are free to do what you will. If they were just, spare them. If not, do your worst. Ben, stop this! The slaves cast stones immediately and mob the leaders. Defiantly, Hux curses the Emperor. You are a false prophet! Long live the Empire! With those words, the mob bursts into a riot. Luke and Rey watch helplessly. The Senators, the Remnant, and Lando are swallowed up by the crowd. No! We do not need the Remnant. We do not need the Republic. We do not need the capital. We will rebuild anew. Enough! Rey throws a crate at the screen. She leaps towards Kylo. They go head to head. Snoke attacks Luke, each with a very personal vendetta. Emotions run high for all. The battle is awesome. Ben's power and aggression has increased tenfold. You took everything from me. You had everything and threw it all away for what? For this? I'm going to bring it all down and be the champion of the new age. Kylo gets the upper hand on Rey. She starts to falter. Luke begins to overtake Snoke, making a few decisive cuts. He could finish it here and now, but he sees Rey is in trouble. He force pushes Snoke so that he is caught under some debris. Ben, stop this! We believe in democracy, in freedom, so the rich can get richer and the poor can get poorer. The Emperor doesn't care about the poor, Ben. They're all just pawns in his game. Then I will end him too. Ben frees Snoke and he jumps back into the fight. Rey faces off against Ben. His new aggressive fighting style takes Rey off guard. She trips. Ben is about to bring his lightsaber down on her when all of a sudden a rifle shot hits his hand. It's Finn! He jumps into action, shooting and wielding his lightsaber. But while his effort is admirable, he is no match for his former master. Ben puts him in a chokehold, and about to end him when Rey springs into action again. Luke jumps in to help Rey. The three of them trade blows until finally Ben is able to cut Luke. After 3 concise hits, Luke is disoriented. Ben then does the unthinkable. Blinded by rage, he lifts Luke into the air and performs a move we've never seen before. A force crush. Every bone in Luke's body snaps and contorts. He screams in pain. Rey screams, "No!" Ben Force pushes him back against the wall and brings a platform down on top of him. His injuries are massive. He realizes what he has done, but it's too late. The damage has been done. Rey rushes over to Luke and pushes the debris off of his broken body. His use of the Force is the only thing keeping him alive. Ben sounds the alarm. Troopers and soldiers flood the room along with Phasma. Beside herself with grief, she turns to face Ben, Snoke, Phasma, and the stormtroopers. With grief and rage in her eyes, she unleashes something so immense and terrifying it renders everyone speechless. In one move, massive arcs of Force lightning fill the room, burning, killing, or incapacitating anyone in its path. Snoke and Ben are knocked on the ground while everyone else burns. Phasma stumbles to her feet and gets a few shots off as Rey and Finn carry Luke to the safety of the Falcon. Finn is able to get a shot off at Phasma that hits her square in the shoulder in the weakest part of her armor. "I'm coming for you. I'll be waiting." With that, they depart. Ben grabs Snoke, and they escape in his ship. "Enough playing games. Take me to him." Ben sees the Star Forge for the first time. It is immense. The speed and volume of ships and munitions emerging from it is staggering. There is seemingly no end. Ben walks through the corridors of the station, taking in its enormity. Finally, they arrive. There are hundreds of armed guards as they approach the observation deck. "Son of Solo, welcome." The chair turns to face him. The Emperor appears feeble and weak, but appearances can be deceiving. Snoke is proud that he has brought him the boy. He's never been able to hold his head higher. "Ben Solo, my master." The Emperor assesses the boy's mental state. "Dear boy, welcome. You know why I'm here? I do. But first, there is one last item of internal corruption within the First Order. You will need to root it out." Ben looks over at Snoke, and then back at the Emperor. "Yes." Snoke is puzzled, unsure of what is happening. "Do it." Without a moment's hesitation, Ben cuts down Snoke. He looks into the eyes of his master, his maker, as he dies. "I thought you would be proud of me." The Emperor strokes the cheek of his foul creation like that of a child. "Poor creature, you have brought me what I need. What would make you think I would have any further use for you?" Snoke collapses at the Emperor's feet. "Congratulations, boy, you have defeated the last of the Remnant. The revolution has begun. Where do we start? Where it all began, of course, Tatooine." On Coruscant, Poe and Finn, along with Leia and Chewbacca, stand over a very injured Luke. It is unclear if he will be able to pull through. The group looks at one another, their enemies mounting. Nothing is said, but their faces speak volumes. The fate of the Republic rests in the hands of this small crew. They will need to prepare for their last stand to fight for the galaxy. Rey places a small plant by Luke's hospital bed, the seeds he gave her. She was able to make something grow after all. Distraught Rey looks out over the observation deck. "Without Master Luke, I don't know how we will win this war. The Emperor will stop at nothing. How are we going to do this?" Poe looks at Finn and then back at Rey. Together, the group all gather around Rey one by one. They stare off into the galaxy, knowing the road ahead will be their greatest test yet. The end. Wait, stop, hold on, wait. Did you think we were done? There is one last thing you should know. A figure is shackled and chained to the wall in the distance, hidden. He's exhausted, struggling to try to break free from the restraints. He gives up. Kylo Ren walks towards him until the figure is revealed. It's Lando. Despite his instruction, Ben ensured his uncle's survival. Kylo sits down and looks him in the eye. "So, ready to talk?"